Hello, it's the old professor again. And I like to ride my motorcycle, but I also like to work on it. And a couple of years ago, I bought a T-Rex Racing center stand for my bike so that I could put the bike up on the center stand and get the rear wheel up off the ground and work on the chain or do other maintenance items on the bike. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about how this little piece of wood here is going to make a big difference and how easy it is to get the bike up on the center stand. Now, this little piece of wood is, my wife wrote my name on it so that I wouldn't lose it or she wouldn't throw it away when she was cleaning up the garage. And as you can see, she is somewhat of a comedian. So I could say that the force required to get the bike up on the center stand is proportional to the cosine of the angle between the center stand and the ground. Hold on, don't click the off button quite yet. Let's take a look at it a different way. Let's say that you were sitting on your bike. You're flat footing your bike and you've got it sitting on the ground, and you notice that it's pretty easy to keep the bike upright. I don't care if it weighs 500 pounds or 900 pounds. If it's sitting up at 90 degrees, it's pretty easy to keep the bike there. But if you let it lean to one side or the other, so now it's not 90 degrees, but now it's 85 and 80 and 75 and 60 and so forth, you get to a point where you're starting to feel the force on that left leg, okay? And pretty soon, if you let it go too far, the bike will roll off, or will just fall over. But if you bring it back just a little bit, you notice that from this point back to 90 degrees, it's a little easier to do. So that's the whole principle behind what we're going to do with this little piece of wood and that center stand, okay? So let's take a look at what's going on with the center stand with this little drawing. I apologize, it's not very good, but hopefully it'll make some sense. This represents the ground, and this is our rear wheel. And what we're going to do, here's our center stand right here. What we're going to do to raise it up on the center stand is we're going to put our foot on this little lever, grab a hold of something on the frame of the bike and lift, and push down at the same time. Rotate the center stand up to a little bit past 90 degrees so that it didn't fall back off, and it'll be up on the center stand. At this point, the rear wheel will rise up off the ground. In my case, the rear wheel will be about an inch off of the ground when it's up on the center stand, okay? So we're going to take that into account. So this little block of wood that I've got here is about 3/4 of an inch thick. It has to be less than the distance from the wheel to the ground as we're putting it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the bike backwards up onto this piece of wood so that the wheel is resting on the board now, okay? And let's see what happens when I have done that. What happens is that I have raised the axle and the swing arm up about 3/4 of an inch, okay? And that translates back to the frame. I've raised that about a little less than 3/4 of an inch, but I have raised it. Now, this is the pivot point for the center stand, okay? So now, instead of the center stand being in this position, it's in this position when I put it down. So it's like this. In case it was like this when I started, and now when I raised it a little bit, it's up here. So now that the angle between the ground and the center stand is closer to 90 degrees. And so we noticed in our original little demonstration that when we get the bike closer to 90 degrees, it's easier to raise. Okay, so that's what happens there. So let's go out, roll the bike out into the driveway, and put the bike, use this piece of wood, and roll the bike up on that center stand so you can see how easy that is. Okay, for this little demo, all I'm going to do is put this little piece of wood behind the wheel, the silver bullet, and I'm going to put the bike up on the center stand. Okay, let's do it. Voila. And so there you have it. So that's the professor's course on Center Stand Physics 101. I hope it made some sense to you. You noticed that once I got it up on the wood, I didn't even have to grab hold and lift the rear of the bike at all. I could just grab the handlebars, step on the lever, and just pull it right back up. And it came up very, very easy. So give this a try if you have a center stand. If you don't believe it works, try it without the piece of wood and then put the wood on there and try it. You will be a believer. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching my video. And I hope you'll get a chance to take look at some of the other videos on my channel. And so go out there, ride your motorcycle, be vigilant, and ride safe.